Welcome to Flick Favorites. I'm explaining a film from 2023 titled Sound of Freedom. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. In 2013, Tegucigalpa, Honduras, struggling father Roberto Aguilar, with two children, Miguel and Rocio, has their lives changed by former beauty queen Katie Giselle, bringing hope to escape poverty. Roberto permits Giselle to register his kids with the child modeling agency, luring him in with the prospect of a better life. The story that is developing takes the three of them to a crucial point, where Giselle takes Miguel and Rocio to an unidentified location for a picture session. Roberto and his children are separated from the entrance by a door since Giselle maintains that only models are allowed inside. Roberto leaves his kids in her care as he bids them farewell with a mixture of regret and resolve. As the narrative progresses, Giselle assumes a mentor role, acquainting Miguel and Rocio with the fascinating realm of modeling. The kids learn the skill of posing via a series of engaging picture shoots, and they also find themselves becoming more confident and enjoying the thrill of the unexpected adventure. Their aspirations soar as they picture themselves being well-known models in the future, following in Giselle's footsteps and representing a unique chance given their modest beginnings. The tension builds as Roberto eagerly returns to the studio where he left his kids, only to find it empty. He bangs on the door, his frustration building until he discovers an unsettling emptiness within. The once bright room is now empty of any traces of Miguel and Rocio and Black. His urgent knocks on the doors of his neighbors, made when he was terrified, go unanswered, leaving him feeling hopeless. Hurrying into the dimly lit streets, he desperately looks for any indication of his missing kids. Meanwhile, a startling picture is developing in California, across the ocean. A guy browses a secret website nonchalantly, approaching the children's choices as if he were browsing Amazon.com. He has no idea that a dedicated special agent from the Homeland Security Investigations Unit named Tim Ballard is closely observing everything he does. This predator, unaware of the watchful eyes on him, continues to peruse his illicit virtual marketplace. Tim Ballard, joined by his vigilant colleague, takes swift action. They infiltrate the residence of Ernest Oshinsky, the perpetrator behind the ominous online activities. In the tension-filled moment, Chris covertly enters Ernest's lair, while the predator remains absorbed in his dark pursuit. As Ernest continues his disturbing pursuit on the computer, an unsettling noise disrupts the silence of his living room. Wrestling with uncertainty, he brushes it off, and immerses himself in the horrifying images on the screen. Suddenly, his sanctuary is shattered, as his bedroom door bursts open, and an agent tackles him to the ground. The alert Homeland Security agents Tim and Chris start a comprehensive check of the house. Their research takes them to a startling discovery, a library full of files with pictures of kids in awkward positions. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, Tim throws himself into the work at hand. He has mental distress as a result of watching the upsetting films showing the abuse, which makes him think about his own family. He feels compelled to act decisively and save these defenseless victims by a strong feeling of obligation. He decides to speak with Oshinsky face-to-face, away from the security of a cell. Speaking candidly about his own issues, Tim admits that he has also had secret urges that he has chosen to repress. He reaches out to Oshinsky, trying to establish some kind of rapport. Oshinsky stands by himself in his cell, grinning slyly, as if he's convinced he's made a surprising ally out of himself. With a daring proposal and the determination to carry it through to fruition, Tim approaches his supervisor. With only a week to complete the task, Tim is forced to confront the darkness that lurks in the shadows and work toward bringing justice to the victims. This sets up a suspenseful and compelling conclusion. Tim accompanies Oshinsky home the following day, appearing to have granted him freedom. Tim brings up an intriguing idea when they are seated at the kitchen table. Tim expresses his willingness to withdraw the allegations against him, but it's evident that he anticipates receiving a favor in exchange for his seeming kindness. Tim says he needs help to achieve his own goals and asks Oshinsky to use his contacts to find a young child, which is a necessary step in achieving his goals. The next day, Oshinsky moves to fulfill Tim's request. He has no idea that Homeland Security is watching him carefully and has evidence to implicate him. Tim and Oshinsky meet in a neighborhood cafe in the evening. Oshinsky gives Tim a book as a token of his gratitude, and within is a photo of Miguel, Roberto's kid. Tim's smile turns to bewilderment, then shock, and ultimately comprehension. The exterior parking lot's red and blue lights disrupt the diner's peacefulness by illuminating the surrounding area. The next day, Tim sets up shop at the Mexican border, waiting for Oshinsky's contact to show up. His intuition tells him differently, even though he presents an appearance of normalcy. Quickly, the contact is immediately taken into custody. A scared youngster is visible as Tim unlocks the van's rear door. Tim takes the youngster out for a burger, hoping to build a rapport while telling him that safety is ahead. Tim introduces himself in Spanish as Timodo throughout their lunch. When the youngster says that his sister gave him a necklace bearing the name Timodo, which stands for the child savior, she is taken aback. Tim asks the youngster about his sister, intrigued. The child tells a terrifying story of how they were imprisoned in a shipping container for several months before being transported by sea to the port of Carta. He currently doesn't know where she is. Tim acts decisively, scheduling the boy's father's plane visit for their eagerly anticipated reunion. As the youngster recognizes his father in the crowd at the airport and rushes into his arms, feelings run high. He is bursting with appreciation and gives a sincere thank you to Tim, his unanticipated rescuer. The youngster gives Tim the pendant as a heartfelt thank you as they part ways, securing their relationship with a firm embrace. However, the boy's sister Rocio's shadow hovers in the background, struggling with the unknown and overcoming unfathomable obstacles. At the start of a fresh day, Tim struggles with an unwavering will to accomplish more. The knowledge that the youngster he saved had a sister who went missing strengthens his determination. Tim persuades his supervisor, if hesitantly, to grant him permission to leave the formal job and go on a mission after he makes a moving argument. Tim boards an aircraft destined for the southern border and bids his wife a passionate goodbye. There he meets Miguel's missing sister Rocio and makes the crucial connection with another cop. Along the way, they meet Vampiro, a man with extensive knowledge of human trafficking who was formerly a part of a cartel. With the help of affluent citizen Paulo Delgado, Tim hatches an ambitious scheme to save 50 children. They'll pretend to be well-off hosts and hold a grand celebration, willing to splash the cash to save them from danger. Consequently, Vampiro contacts El Calicas, a contact who can find children for their business. Deluding American visitors with false promises, El Calicas unintentionally creates the conditions for monitoring by leading them to a network that include Giselle, the lady who tricked Roberto. The cover can no longer be maintained as Tim's supervisor Frost becomes irritated with the slow progress made on foreign land. He tells Tim it's over and tells him to go home. Tim turns to his wife for advice when he is feeling uncertain, and she recommends making a drastic adjustment. He decides to change his life the next day and quits his work in order to follow his newfound mission of saving the children. Later on in the day, Tim receives a visit from Paulo, who has a change of heart and says he is now eager to help. Paulo and Vampiro work together to devise a bold scheme. Paulo would buy an island and set it up as a huge celebration location, providing the ideal cover to gather together a large number of children and traffickers. Organize a law enforcement raid with the specific goal of rescuing children and apprehending the traffickers. After the documents for the island are signed, the plan comes to pass. The alluring image of a lavish celebration is used to highlight El Calicas and their relationship with the traffickers. Capturing pictures of the island to show his contacts excites El Calicas about the possibility of working with rich people. Famous Giselle consents to supply the children for the celebration. Giselle and Paulo are introduced by Vampiro, and the finer points of the occasion are talked about. The unavoidable trap that was established on the island to guarantee the traffickers' capture and a successful rescue effort was the clever part of the strategy. The police force places itself strategically on speedboats on the other side of the island as surveillance is set up. When the children do show up, there's a big problem since there are a lot less than expected. Tim is told by Giselle that the others are on their way. Tim acts quickly, phoning the police force commander to ask for patience and to separate one man from the group without putting him in handcuffs so that it appears he is the informant. Tim plans the following course of action as a far-off boat draws closer to the island, indicating the arrival of the others. As the boat splashes down on the beach, the police team moves quickly to terminate the terrifying exploitation that has been plaguing the victims' lives and rescue as many as they can. During the interrogation of a trafficker who has been apprehended during the island raid, a startling discovery is made. The sister who went missing, Rocio, was sold to El Alacran, aka the Scorpion. As the hunt for Rocio escalates, the inquiry takes a surprising turn, adding another level of complication to the job. Tim's informant informs him that Rocio is now in the hands of El Alacran, the infamous rebel commander, and that it is extremely dangerous, even for the military, to approach El Alacran's area. Despite the dangers, Tim is adamant on finishing the assignment. Vampiro comes up with a bold scheme to masquerade as a missionary doctor in the hopes that El Alacran will let medical professionals into his domain so they may treat his people. Tim and Vampiro travel to the region of Noino, where they pose as physicians and treat the inhabitants' medical needs. Their goal is to make people aware of their existence in order to finally get access to the area. They are shocked to learn that El Alacran accepts Tim's medical services, which gives them the chance to look for Rocio. Tim finds Rocio in the middle of the area, where people are gathering coca leaves to make tools. She is at El Alacran's hut, under cover of night. Tim tells her about his scheme to save her and get her back home. However, El Alacran's return abruptly ends their talk. Tim quickly hides, taking advantage of the brief diversion to make his way down the perilous trail leading to Rocio's release. Tim is forced to fight El Alacran during a heated exchange, but he is able to overcome and vanquish the infamous rebel commander. Taking advantage of the situation, he quickly leaves the village with Rocio, only to have troops pursuing them relentlessly from behind. After the terrifying confinement, Rocio wakes up to the consoling presence of her father and has her much-anticipated reunion with her brother. The epilogue discloses that Tim Ballard spoke before the U.S. Congress, which was crucial in the legislation that were passed requiring the U.S. government to work more closely with other countries when conducting trafficking investigations. It also touches on the unsettling fact that, compared to even the time when slavery was legal, modern slavery surpasses historical proportions. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Your support means a lot. Hope to see you next time.